a conundrum for everybody, rooted essentially in entropy, in the arrow that we seem to follow in our existence from birth to death, or decay, as they call it in particle physics. But it's a misnomer because we're brought up on this illusion of measuring time by clocks. Oh, well done, Wordley. Nearly. That's good. And measuring time by clocks just gives us really a measurement of our revolution around the sun. Our revolution around the sun being the only point of reference. Well done, Wordley. The only point of reference that we have to the passage of this stuff, this flow, this ether-bound template that we move through in our lives. So all these elements, this is Ashley, by the way, running around being a nuisance. All these elements are maybe designed, can we say that the universe designs them to be potentially complicated? We're left with illusions of reality that are based on a past that no longer exists in the format in which we remember it, also in myriads of other formats, because the multiverse exists and that's just the way it is. The future holds equal anxiety because we become very concerned about what's going to happen next, and we build scenarios of what will become of what we are going to do because that's the way we've been brought up. The dictum is, Ashley, the dictum is that if you don't do this, then that won't happen. If you don't get this done in time, then you won't be able to do that. And we don't have any other conditioning to work from, so we have to make some and invent it for ourselves. A lot of things are said about time, that time is a healer, time waits for no man, and so on. But essentially time is a causal framework, cause and effect, moving in the one direction in which we see cause and effect happen within the confines of the universe that we occupy, and the brain of the universe that we occupy, since there potentially are a number of options on that front. So it has more to do with distance and speed and our position on the trajectory line. When you see blue shift, something is coming towards you, and when you see red shift, something is moving away. So we measure things in terms of our observation, in terms of what we see. And what we see of time is that it passes. It moves from one point to the next. So what is time then? Time is a wonderful thing. It's malleable, changes, facilitates change. It never stands still. Thanks for putting on me, Wordley. And unexpected things will always happen. Some of them are, proverbial. But at the end of the day, time is not what we thought it was. It's not what we were brought up to believe. Being a construct that relies on the revolution of the Earth around the sun gives it a very limited context. And that limited context is one that we are grown up to believe is the absolute truth. The absolution of our understanding of time is a linear format from past to future, with stopping points in between that are segmented, regimented even, into segments. And within those segments, we do various things. Now, we know from our own experience that the various things we do within those segments take longer and shorter periods of time according to our perception. Even though our perception doesn't seem to marry up with the clock, it doesn't matter. some things drag and some things are very fast. So this perception of ours has to be taken into account because it's generic, because we all experience it, all of us, has to be taken into account in some understanding of the quantum dynamics of time. Say this is you, this is your point on your world line, this is where you are. You're kind of riding this ring of past and future waves that crash into the present. And they just keep crashing in on a template of uncertainty. There is no certainty. The uncertainty principle means the uncertainty principle. It's important for a reason. It's important because it illustrates to us the uncertainty of everything. There is no dynamic we can truly predict in what is going to happen next, what is going to be involved in what happens next. There is no question that this dynamic is uncertain at every step of the way. But, having said that, if we're on this point here, on our world line, the chances are we're going to be heading in that direction. If we stay on this trajectory, we're going to be heading in that direction. And that's why we can make plans, not on the keyboard, really. That's why we can make plans that will be carried out, things that will follow through, because we work with this ring donut of time and we cross over present on the same kind of trajectory, the same kind of line. Now that doesn't take away the malleability of the time format. We need to cast off the constraints of the way we view time. It's very important to appreciate the flexibility of time as a real thing. Never mind the clocks. The time is a real thing. But it's only a real thing in our own worlds. How it works in our own worlds is different to how it's going to work in anybody else's world, because the uncertainty principle is always at work. You always have uniqueness, the unique world line of everything, protected by the uncertainty principle. So whether you're a scientist or not, please don't ever take for granted that the uncertainty principle is, as Brian Cox and Jeff Forshaw said, a doorway through which all kinds of charlatans and purveyors of tripe may force their philosophical musings. No, the picture is much bigger than really anyone can comprehend right now. When we say, I don't have time for this, what is it that we're referring to? What don't we have time for? And what is time anyway? Is it a construct of movement, or is it just a definition of entropy? Or indeed, even better, closer to the mark still, is it simply a measurement of the time it takes for us to revolve around the sun? Is it as simple as that? Is that all time is to us? The measurement of our revolutions around the sun? There are lots of options, but one thing's for sure, we don't know enough about the construct of what we move through in terms of our reality, our existence on our world line. We don't know really how malleable it is, how much potential there is, more than we already know, to operate within it, and what we could potentially be doing better and more effectively to use this medium that is at our disposal, instead of stressing about what's gone before and what's going to come next. Don't forget to subscribe so that you know when the next one is coming up, and I look forward to seeing you then. So in the meantime, take care of yourself, have fun, see you later. Bye.